How's it going, guys? We have a past level question for immunology step one. You have a 4-year-old boy who has Haemophilus influenza type B causing epiglottitis here. So, very buzzy presentation. The immigrant status tells you most likely unvaccinated. Okay, and so Haemophilus influenza type B can cause meningitis, epiglottitis. Don't confuse with Haemophilus influenza non-typable, which can cause otitis media, not the most common cause. Strep pneumonia is actually the most common cause of otitis media. It can also cause pneumonia sometimes in COPD, all right? But non-typable, not really high yield, but type B, holy shit, that we vaccinate against, meningitis, epiglottitis, okay? And so we're handing you the diagnosis here. We're not trying to make that hard. I just jacked this image off of Wikipedia showing us the thumbprint sign. And we're just asking what kind of vaccine is Hib? All right, let's hop through. Choice A, conjugate, correct answer. So Haemophilus influenza type B, it has a polysaccharide capsule. So you think about the capsular organisms. For instance, if you have asplenia slash splenectomy, okay, sickle cell, surgical, what do you need vaccines against? Haemophilus influenza type B, strep pneumo, Neisseria meningitis. So the only issue about giving a polysaccharide vaccine, if you just were to give a piece of the capsule and expose that to the immune system, is that it's called a T-independent, thymus-independent antigen, which, because it's not proteinaceous, cannot be expressed on, or it cannot be presented on MHC molecules for expression to the T cells. So you get a weaker immune response. So what we do is we take that polysaccharide capsule, we conjugate it to a protein. And one of the NBME questions has flagellin as an answer for the protein you conjugate against. Some students are memorizing that, like, oh my God, flagellin. It's not that. It's just in that particular NBME question, it's the only protein that's listed. You're not going to conjugate it to an LPS, lipopolysaccharide, right, as an example. So you conjugate it to a protein. And by conjugating the polysaccharide to a protein, we now make that capsule proteinaceous in form, and it's now T-dependent, thymus-dependent. It can now be presented on MHC molecules to mount a T cell response, so we get a stronger vaccine output, essentially, in terms of what the immune system can do. So conjugate vaccine, we have that for strep pneumo, we have that for Neisseria meningitis, we have that for Haemophilus influenza type B. It's what they want you to know. Let's just hop to the others. And I mean, I've already inculcated it, but if they give you the inverse question here, they say, which of the following vaccines is a T-independent form that becomes a T-dependent form, where you're like, what the fuck? It's as I just described, okay? Polysaccharide going to conjugate. So let's just look at the others. Killed intramuscular, wrong fucking answer. That could be your typical flu vaccine. There is a live attenuated form, but the injection one, that's killed. You should also know Salk polio. That's the injection form of polio. That's killed. And what's highest yield about the killed intramuscular vaccines is that they do not result in IgA production in the gut. That makes sense. It's not, the gut's not being exposed to the vaccine. And you're not going to mount a CD8 plus response. That's a little bit more difficult for the immuno, but CD8 plus T cells are going to interact with MHC1, which is when you have live virus entering a cell that will be expressed or presented on MHC1 molecules. Okay, so if you're killed, there's no live invasion of the cell, so the only presentation to T cells is going to be on MHC2. It's where the antigen-presenting cells will phagocytose that killed antigen and present an MHC2 to CD4 plus T cells. So the long story short for that point is, if you get a question about live attenuated versus killed, you need to know that the killed will not result in IgA production, and it's not going to result in a CD8 plus response. You can eliminate all of those answer choices. Choice B, wrong fucking answer. Choice C, live attenuated, wrong fucking answer, as I just harped on. You need to know that this could be Sabin polio, okay? It can be an intranasal flu. Okay, so the Sabin polio, you get IgA production, as I talked about, and you're going to get CD8 plus response. Now, another thing that they can ask is, which of the following is seen with both the oral live attenuated Sabin polio and the killed intramuscular Salk polio, what do you see in both of those? And the answer is IgG in the serum. Okay, whereas once again, the answers that are IgA and CD8 plus response for both of those will be wrong. Those are only live attenuated. Also varicella for live attenuated, MMR for live attenuated. Wrong fucking answer. Choice D, polysaccharide, wrong fucking answer. Okay, so this, as I already discussed, it's T independent. You have to conjugate it to a protein to make it T dependent. So that's your Hib, Haemophilus influenza type B, strep pneumo, Neisseria meningitis. But you can give, for instance, a strep pneumo vaccine PPSV23 that's only polysaccharide. We have conjugate. We have PCV15, we have PCV20 for strep pneumo, but we also have PPSV23 polysaccharide. So it's just an example of a vaccine that wouldn't mount the same robust immune response, but still exists. Choice D, wrong fucking answer. Choice D, toxoid, wrong fucking answer. So OID means looks like but ain't. So looks like a toxin from a bacterium, but it's not. So it can be a piece of a toxin. Okay, it can be inactivated toxin. So this is high yield for USMLE for diphtheria and tetanus. They are toxoid vaccines. You got to know that. So for DPT, okay, so diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, the diphtheria and the tetanus components are toxoid. The pertussis is killed component, okay? Don't really know what to tell you. Toxoid, wrong fucking answer. You know the deal. When to make more content, build my stuff, subscribe my channel. Appreciate your time. That's it.